Hi, in this video we'll be going over the continuation of the C# tutorials. So in this video we'll be working on just doing another lab to practice the string and character methods. So this is a lab similar to the last one that we just did, if you're looking in the C# playlist. So pretty much this is just, so in the last tutorial we formatted a telephone number to make it look, to add the parentheses and the dash and to like kind of move the data around. So in this time we're going to unformat it. So I've set up a form here, just using the drag and drop. So we have a number text box. So it's a text box. It's the name property is set to number text box. Then we have a button here. It's called unformat button. And then an exit button here, which is just called exit button, so everything's camel cased. Excuse me. So we have we'll start with this a Boolean method again. So just in the code here. Actually, sorry. Before that, let's add the buttons event handlers. Something happened with the keyboard here. Okay, so we have, is it unformat button, I think. Not sure what I called it. Let me just check what actually, maybe it's called format button. What was it? Okay, it's called I call it unformat button. Okay, that should be correct. I'm not sure why the ID didn't pick it up. Okay, there we go. Unformat button. We'll say .click plus equals new event handler. And here we'll pass in unformat button underscore click. So unformat button .click plus equals new event handler, passing in the, I guess in this case, the argument unformat button underscore click. So here we'll do the same. Actually, first before we do that, let's just try doing the other one first too. So exit button .click plus equals new event handler. And we'll pass in exit button underscore click. So here we'll say private. Void we'll say unformat button underscore click, and here we'll pass in object sender, comma event args e. What happened there? Okay, so we'll do the same for the exit button as well. We'll just leave them empty. So here we'll say private void. We'll pass in exit button underscore, we'll call it exit button underscore click. Here we'll pass in the parameter object sender, comma event args e. That should remove all the errors, and then we should just continue with the Boolean method now. So the Boolean method, I believe it takes a parameter. I think it takes a string. Actually, yeah, it takes a string as a parameter. So here we'll say that we have private, so it's a bool, so in C#, a Boolean is not Boolean. It's called just bool like that. So private bool, pretty much I think all C's are bool. They use the keyword bool. Some languages use Boolean. So bool's either way is fine. In this case we have to use bool. So here we'll call it is valid number. Actually, sorry, is valid format. and here we'll pass in a string str. So here we'll have some locals. We'll call the constant keyword because we want to make this variable unchangeable. So we'll say constant int valid underscore length points to 13. And here we'll have bool valid. So then here we'll say if str.length points to valid underscore length, sorry, constant. And remember, to access a string index, we just use similar to an array index. We just reference a string and pass in the index like that. So string of index 0 points to. We're going to pass in a symbol here. So we're going to pass in a character symbol. Remember, when you access an index of a string, it's actually a character. I know that can be tricky because you don't really access characters that often. So here we'll say str of string index 0 points to just a character, which is a left parentheses. Then we'll say and str of string index 4 points to a right parentheses as a character. And we'll check if the string index of 8 points to a hyphen, or is equal to a hyphen character, a dash. In that case, and we'll set valid to point to true. One sec here. Alright, so then we'll have, let's just see what else that we have here. Okay, so we'll have an else block. So we'll set valid, so in that case, and here we'll say else. Valid points to false. And under that here, we'll return valid. Okay, so that's the end of that method, so we'll start a new one here. So just to check, so it takes a string, then it declares, or actually it instantiates and initializes a constant int valid length, points that to the value of 13, declares a boolean, doesn't set it to true or false. So then if str.length points to valid.length, or valid underscore length, so if the string length is 13 and the first index of the string is a left parentheses, and the string index 4 is a right parentheses character, and the string index of 8 is a what is this, dash or hyphen character, then we'll set the boolean to true. Otherwise, if this condition isn't met, we set the boolean to false. Then we just return the valid boolean at the end. So for the next one, so this method will accept a string, so we'll have to pass it as a reference because we're going to modify an object. So passing by reference is something special to C#. It can be a little confusing. Sometimes if something doesn't work, just try using a reference to modify, for example, an object. So here in this case, we'll have another method here. We'll call it private void unformat. It'll take a ref string str as a parameter. Here we'll say str points str.remove So call the remove method, so we're going to modify the string. We're going to remove index, start index is 0, we're going to, I think actually no, the count is going to be 1. So we'll delete the left parentheses at position 0 first. And now we'll delete the right parentheses because of the previous deletion if it is now located. Sorry, it is now located at position 3, so I believe some things got shifted over. So we may have to walk through this in the debugger, so here we'll have str points to str.remove. We'll pass in the arguments 3 and 1. Sometimes I may mix up parameters and arguments. Because I believe Java just calls them parameters for formal and actual parameters, but I've made so many Java videos, so I just kind of get used to that. So here we have, for the next one, we'll have str points to str.remove. Then we'll pass in the parameter of 6, 1, or the argument. So here we're basically just removing the hyphen. So everything gets shifted around after each remove, so we'll try to demonstrate that in the memory in a sec. So now we'll just access the button for the event handler. So we'll declare a string input. So a string variable will point it to the number text box dot text dot trim. So what's happening here is we're taking a local string. We're going to declare a local string and then instantiate it and initialize it to. We're going to access the number text box control on the form. The number control text box on the form is the text property of the number text box. And we're going to trim any extra spaces and extra things that we don't want. Then we will check if the input is properly formatted, so we'll unformat it and display it. So if the input is properly formatted, we'll unformat it and display it. So remember, we're going to unformat things here, so we'll have, for example, if is, so we're going to call our method that we already made, and we're going to get a value from that method. So we'll say if is valid format, we'll pass in an input string as a parameter, or yeah, as an argument in this case. So then here we'll say, then we'll call the, how many messages did we make? 2. So then we'll call unformat here. Then we'll pass an ref input because we're going to, so this one takes a string, an ref string. So if the unformat definition of the method takes a ref string str, then in the method call, we're going to have to pass in a ref argument as well. So method, so we'll say method call and definition both take ref argument / param. Okay, so then after that, we'll say, so if is valid format passing in, if is valid format passing an input as a argument, then we'll call the unformat method and pass in an ref string input. Then here we'll say, so we'll display a message box or a dialog box to the user. We'll say messagebox.show. We'll show the string to the user. We'll pass in input as an argument. And here we'll say else. And we'll show a message box here again, messagebox.show. And if this is valid format, then we'll show an error message. We'll just say that error message, wrong input. And for the exit button, we just have a this.close to close the form here. Okay, let me just see if this, so let me just run this, see what happens here. As long as it works, and we'll step through it. Okay, something happened here. Oh no. Okay, let's see. Hopefully it runs. Okay, Ren, you can't see it, but don't worry. So I'll just enter. Oh, you have to enter a. What do you have to actually enter? I think it's how did they enter it last time? Okay. Okay, so which one is unformat? Okay, so enter. So you have to go left parentheses. I know you can't see this, but just because it popped up as a message box, so those don't catch with this recorder, but I'll just tell you what to do. So if you run this code, you just go shift left parentheses. You just put up a left parentheses, enter, for example, like a North American area code 604, then go right parentheses, then go with the next digit. So I'll go 1 2 3 dash 4 5 6 7. And I'm going to click the button unformat. Okay, that was wrong. What was that wrong? Sorry, let me just try that again. Unless I did something wrong. Okay, 604, close it. Unless there's supposed to be spaces. I think there might be. So I'll go space 1 2 3 dash 4 5 6 7. Does that work? Nope. Okay, let me try that again. Left parentheses 604, right parentheses, hyphen 1 2 3 hyphen 4 5 6 7. No. Okay. Let me check the code here. So let's just go back to the code here. Okay, so at the beginning we have we have this private bool method. Is valid format takes a string str, constant int valid length points to 13, declares a bool valid. Then here if str.length points to valid underscore length and str of string index 0 points to a left parentheses and str of string index 4 points to a right parentheses character, and str of string index 8 points to a dash character. Excuse me. Then we'll set valid to true, else valid points to false. We'll return valid. So the unformat method accepts a string by reference assumed to contain a telephone number formatted in this manner, which is what I entered. The method unformats the string by removing the parentheses and the hyphen. So private void unformat takes a did I do this one wrong? Private void unformat ref, so it takes a ref string str. Then we have str points to str.remove passing in 0, 1. Then str points to str.remove passing in 3, 1. Then str points to str points to str.remove passing in 6, 1, so that should be correct. Okay, so for the unformat button, string input points to number textbox.text. Number textbox.text.trim, so we're going to method chain it. Then here if is valid format passing in input. So if is valid format passing in input, we'll call unformat passing in ref input. Then we'll have a message box.show input else message box.show invalid input. Okay, so what's the problem here? Am I in caps lock or something? Nope. Perhaps there's supposed to be a space or something. Otherwise I'll just have to end it because I don't have time to kind of figure it out, but hopefully you guys get the idea. At least we got to practice some methods here. Hopefully it does work though. So we have, we'll just go with, actually sorry, let me just try to actually make this bigger here. So I'm going to make this bigger at least. I could just code it but quickly. Well, we've done that before, but I'm just going to click it here just to do it fast, and then I'll click this text. Does that say font? I think it says font, so we'll click the ellipsis button. Then here we'll just change that to like 36 or something. Okay, so then I'll go back to the code, I'll hit run. Then I'm gonna so how am I gonna enter the string? So I'll show you how I enter the string. There might be a glitch actually, but in Writer itself, hopefully not. So I'm gonna enter like this. I'm gonna go left parentheses. We'll pretend there's no comment here. So I'm gonna go left parentheses, for example, 604, and then dash. Actually, let me just see how they did it. Okay, 604. So there's no dash. So then 1, 2, 3 dash 4, 5, 6, 7. But there might be a space here. And is there a space here? Doesn't look like there's a space between here. Maybe a space at the end and maybe a space at the front. I'm not sure. Hopefully not, but we'll try this first. So I'm going to enter that number when I click run. Nope. Oh, you know why? I think I did 2 dashes. Maybe that's why. Let's try that again. Okay, so we have 6, so left parentheses, 604, right parentheses, 1, 2, 3 dash 4, 5, 6, 7. Hopefully that works. Okay, so that did work. Okay, perfect. So then here we'll set a breakpoint so I can show you guys what actually happened. So I think we can skip the event handlers. So I'll just go here. I'll set a breakpoint there. I'll set one here. And I'll set one here. I'm not sure. Hopefully they all get hit. So here we'll just go. I'm going to click the debug icon in the top right corner. Just let that load for a sec. Okay, so so the app popped up, so I'm just going to enter the same thing I just showed you guys. So here we'll go with a left parentheses. I'm going to go to 604, and then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 dash 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so now we're in the debugger. So what do we have here for variables? We have pretty much nothing yet, because once again, I don't think the C# compiler shows, it doesn't show globals, doesn't show like fields or global variables. So where are we now? So we're here in the unformat button.click. So that would make sense because when you run a graphical user interface app, the first thing that happens is going to be something that the user does. So it's waiting for example, a button click, which we click the button, and now it jumped into the handler. So here we have strings. We have a local string, input points and number, text box dot text dot trim. So I'm going to step over that. So where does it show that? Number text, here we go. Text returned right there, if you can see that. So number text box dot text returned. I'm not sure why it says returned, but that's what the number text box dot text value is. It has two things here. It's showing us that it's a string, and it's showing us something else. So if I click view, it just pops that up in like a kind of like a BIOS kind of screen. So then here, it doesn't really show us the memory locations, unlike other languages. For example, Java shows you the memory locations. I thought Python did too, maybe not. Yeah, so we'll just go with that. That's the string that we entered that's saved as a string. We know that it's saved as a string. So if is valid format passing an input. So remember, input doesn't show us that. Okay, here we go. So it shows us that input is a local string, and it points to the number text box data that was entered by the user. So now the input variable points to that data. So now we have if is valid format, and it takes in argument input. So we're going to pass this string to this method call. We're going to step in. We stepped in here. That input is now called str. So as you can see down here, the other variable now points to that data. So we'll step in here. We now have two locals, I believe. We have a bool valid, which was just declared, which isn't going to show up in the C# debugger here, but we have the valid length. Actually, sorry, it did show up. So we have valid, which was so if you just declare a boolean as just declare it, it points to false initially. So we have then valid length. Where is that? Doesn't show, valid length. Perhaps it doesn't show constants, which is also dumb. That can happen too. Sometimes the debuggers and basically just the compilers don't show the constants, so that can be a setback. For example, I think Java does. So the Java debugger is pretty advanced, like the compiler, but it looks like C# doesn't show everything. Kind of like C, so I noticed that the C programming language doesn't show a lot of data. So here we have, for example, if str.length points to valid.length. So what's the length of str? So it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Am I missing a space? It might have. Let's see what happened here. I might have added a space. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Actually, no, it didn't add a space. So it's just, you count the parentheses as a character. So 2 parentheses and a hyphen, and you add that to a normal North American number, which should be 13. So in this case, we're checking if the str.length points to 13, which is true. So now it's going to check this part of the condition. If a string index of index 0 points to the left character, so the string index 0 point to the left character, it does. It points to that left parentheses. Then it goes to the next condition. It's going to check that, and string index of 4 points to the right parentheses. That's true, and string index of 8 points to a hyphen. That should be true. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's correct. Then we'll step in. Valid points to true. We'll set that to true. Then it should return valid. We should jump here. Then we'll step over that, return valid. It's going to return the So it returns true to this method. So in this case, we could step into the method then. If it's false, if that method would have returned false, we would have skipped this block and moved to the else. So we'll step in. So now it's calling on format. So we're going to pass a argument. We're going to pass input here, which pointed to that data from the text box initially. So now that's going to be passed as a reference parameter or a reference argument. So we'll step in. So now it's showing us str with this kind of BIOS thing again. So just pass it by reference instead of value. So then here we'll step in. So here we're saying str points to str.remove. So it's going to remove, so remember we're going to remove, basically we're going to take a telephone number and turn it into a normal number. So we're taking this left parentheses, removing the 0 index, and we're counting 1 value. So if I remove if we say points to str.remove passing in 0, 1, we should get a change with the string because we pass it as a reference parameter. So we'll step over. So if you look at the string now, you can see that the left parentheses was removed. So in this case, we're now going to, so once that happens, all the values get shifted kind of to the left. So in this case, we're going to remove start index 3, so 0, 1, 2, 3. And we're going to count 1. So that's going to remove us, basically, the string index of 3. Everything gets shifted over to the left again. And then all the indexes, basically you just take all the indexes and minus 1, so it subtracts 1 and then now 2. So then we go 0, so then we count again. We're removing 6 with 1 value, so we go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to count 1, so that's going to remove the dash. Then you take the string and subtract 1. And that should just leave us with the formatted string. Then this method call is done. Then it's just the message box that show the string to the user. That's it. So that's the end of the tutorial. So thanks for watching, guys. If you guys liked the video, you can like and subscribe to support the channel for more programming and investing tutorials. In the next video, we'll be continuing with strings and characters. So hopefully I'll see you guys there, and see you next time. Thanks.